developments in the security sector. In Kwara State, all 38 worshippers abducted during the church service have regained their freedom, bringing much-needed relief to their families and the community. A nationwide, President Bola Tinubu has ordered the immediate withdrawal of police officers attached to VIPs, a directive expected to release thousands of personnel back into core security duties. So tonight we'll take a look at what this could mean for Nigeria's ongoing fight against terrorism and insecurity. On the program with me tonight is Dr. Stephen Okori, security consultant, strategist, and also fellow Nigerian Army Resource Center. Also on the program tonight is Isaac Abrak, a journalist and chairman Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Isaac Abrak is a journalist with over 2 decades of reporting from Nigeria's most dangerous conflict zones. Gentlemen, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us on Politics Tonight. It's a pleasure having you.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, gentlemen? Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening. We can hear you.
Right, let's start with you, Dr. Okori. I mean, 3 security crises in a week, and so we're looking at some relief. In Niger State, 38, one in Kwara State, one in Kebbi State, and another in Niger State. In Kwara State, 38 abducted worshippers have regained freedom. 50 abducted students in Niger escaped, and Mr. President has promised not to relent. But before last week, he gave marching orders to the new security chiefs to end insecurity. But these bandits, made a statement by carrying out what we saw last week. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, let me start by saying that the president's marching order, should I say, it has started yielding results. But the fact is, the marching order is to end insecurity in Nigeria. But the fact is that we cannot end insecurity in Nigeria because a society without crime is impossible, by Emily Duncan, But what we expect from our government and security agencies is to see that there's decline rather than escalation. We have seen a series of insecurity issues in the last week, and very recently we saw one that happened again with regards to the farmers. If you don't know, some farmers were women, about 12 of them were returning from their farm, and they were also kidnapped in Borno State. That was on Saturday. Now, I want to commend Mr. President. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for seeing that the 38 worshippers in the community in Kwara have regained their freedom. But when it has to do with kidnap-related insecurity, when you hear victims regain freedom, it comes in 3 different ways. One is either they are rescued, or they are released, or they escape. When it has to do with rescue, of course, it has to do with direct tactical operation, where security agents see how to find their way into the forest or wherever they have kept the victims to see how to get them released or get them rescued, right? Because there you are using force, often using armed intervention or covert operation. And the key features when it has to do with rescue, it has to do with active operations involving force, intelligence, and coordination. And of course, you agree with me that there are some units or departments where they have specialized either police, military, or GSS officers that carry out such execution. And the execution are carried out based on intelligence, precise intelligence, and strategic operations. Now, when it has to do with release, it means that the kidnappers have freed, they freed the victims voluntarily, come and go. And this happens when there's a negotiation, or when ransom is paid, or when certain demands are met, and when there's some kind of pressure from security operations, the kidnappers would decide that the victims should now go freely, And escape is another way to regain freedom. Just the way you said, the Niger school children too that were also adopted or kidnapped. About 51 of them escaped. So these are the ways that you can regain freedom. And when you see the appreciation from the governor of Kwara State, he appreciated Mr. President so much and so well for doing very well. Mr. President was personally involved in seeing that the worshippers regain their freedom. I think it's something that we should commend, right? And I want to also appeal to Mr. President that there are a lot of our citizens that are also out there in the forest. It's just for their communities to also cry out so that Mr. President can hear their cry and see how to also come on board and see that they regain their freedom as well.
All right, Dr. Corey, let me stay with you before I go to Mr. Abrak. And the question that has been on the minds of many Nigerians is, can Nigeria secure itself? And I'm asking you this question because Mr. President has made a promise, and Nigerians are saying another promise made. The same way former President Goodluck Jonathan promised to end Boko Haram insecurity. The same way late President Muhammadu Buhari promised to end banditry and insecurity. And I mean, it's scary that we're seeing the same pattern of national threat or national security. But we've seen some successes recorded in the last few hours. But are promises enough?
You see, Nigerians are out there. What we want from Mr. President at the moment is action, decisive action, right? Because we have seen these promises from previous presidents, and they were not backed by action. So Mr. President at the moment is one president that will need to see that there is decisive action in whatever he is doing in terms of handling the security challenges in the country. Just the way I said, he's the commander-in-chief. The buck stops at his table. He appoints, he fires. And I want to believe that the way he is going, he has rejigged the military. He has brought in new heads, new energy. The service chiefs that are on board now have come with new strategy, new tactics, new vision, and all that. And I expect that the other senior officers and other ranks will key into their vision. Having rejigged the military, I expect that it would have extended such rejig to the police and the other security agencies out there. Because as far as I'm concerned, the other security agencies are not doing enough, to see how to help address the insecurity issues in the country. When it has to do with combating internal crime, it's the responsibility of the police. Everybody in Nigeria knows that it's the responsibility of the police to combat internal crime. When it has to do with internal crime, the police is the lead agency. But the question is, how well are they leading in the fight against insecurity when it has to do with crime within the shores of the country? With the way the military have taken over the responsibility of the police, for me, it has made the police so relaxed. The police have become so lazy in the discharge of their duties. Internal crime, Nigerians and the government keep talking to the service chiefs. They keep referring to the service chief. Meanwhile, the IGP is there. Nobody talks about him, right? The recent adoption of schoolgirls, the 25 schoolgirls in Kebbi, that very day, the chief of army staff stormed Kebbi. The IGP was nowhere to be found. Yes, in as much as the IGP was out of the shores of the country to represent the country in a meeting in the US, I would have expected that the high-powered delegation led by a DIG from the force headquarters would have also gone to Kebbi, to look out for first-hand information with regards to the adoption of the girls. Rather, the police PRO in Kebbi was the one issuing statements with regards to the adoption of the schoolgirls.
Dr. Okori, for a police system that is under-resourced and underfunded, is it fair to say the system is lazy? But I'll allow you to answer that question after bringing in Mr. Abrak. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Abrak. The last time you were here, that was a year ago, you were in the program establishing the importance of the establishment of forest guards. You say it is viable, yes, it's a viable option to checkmate random attacks on villages. And you also talked about the impact it can have on national security. A year later, Mr. President called for the establishment, but implementation has been slow. Does it emphasize the conversation about lack of political will at all government levels to secure this nation?
Absolutely, absolutely correct. And I'm sad sitting here to discuss about all these issues of kidnapping particularly when our kids are being kidnapped from school. I have been opportune to cover these issues from the front lines. I was in Chibok, I was in Dapchi, I was in all of these places, most of these schools, that even including the ones in the Northwest. This thing keeps happening. And this is why we continuously say, what is the military going to do differently? What is the police going to do differently that it has not done before? Yes, the president has deployed the chief of defense, the minister of defense, to Kebbi and all of these places. They've gone there. Definitely, they will do something. But after they finish their jobs there, they will go back to the barrack or they go back to their offices. And those forests where those kidnappers are hiding and are coming to disturb us, rape and kidnap our women and our children, they will just recycle and go back to those forests. And this is why we keep on saying that the forest guard is the solution. And of course, Mr. President has approved it. We were happy. But then, implementation is the problem. I assure you, if the forest guard was adequately and properly implemented, this show that we are seeing, or this, sorry to say it like that, but I mean, it is happening over and over again, almost in the same pattern. You go to a school, they pick children from school, you hear that the military were withdrawn. It was the same story in Chibok. It was the same story in Dapchi. It was the same story in Mamundo. It's become like a pattern. So therefore, we are now saying, if the forest guard was in place, you are now giving the opportunity to the victims who are the ones that are suffering these attacks, to also protect themselves. So I think now that America has jostled us, has startled us as a nation, including the whole structure of the leadership, the president, and the governors. So we now have to come to the table. Whatever political differences that we have, I believe that is an opportunity for us to harmonize those differences and ensure that we get this forest guard running. I reassure again, and I reaffirm again, the forest guard is what Nigerian security system, what Nigerian government will be doing differently to checkmate this issue. Moreover, we've seen it, the success of the Civilian Joint Task Force in Maiduguri in 2012, 2013, that secured Maiduguri, is there for us to see. It's a shining example. These kids, these youths who understand the terrain of Maiduguri, know the nooks and corners, collaborated with the military. And that was how we were able to chase out all these people and send them to Sambisa. Boko Haram is in Sambisa not by choice. It is by the activities of the Joint Task Force, the Civilian Joint Task Force, and also with the military. If we do that as a nation, these people will have no hiding place. Moreover, they will hide in the forest. Our people are in the forest, and they will take care of them there.
And you're very convinced that with the forest guards in place, Nigeria can really secure itself?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me go back to...
It's there for...
Please go ahead.
I was going to add, it's there for everybody to see. Let's say, for instance, now, you go to this community in Niger or Kebbi or Kwara State and tell the traditional ruler there and say, please, we need youths who we want to recruit into the forest guard to guard this forest. Tell me, can anybody measure the quantum, the degree of commitment that these people who are victims would bring to the forest guard to make sure that they secure their communities? If we recruit forest guards, these community people, to guard their schools, because most of these schools that have been attacked are in the hinterlands. So if you get these people to say, okay, guard your schools, and remember, most of these peoples will be very committed because it is their kids, it's their children that are in that school, and they live there permanently. You are not deploying a special squad from Abuja or from Lagos or from Port Harcourt to go there. They are there permanently. And it's their children that is in that school. Tell me, if you are in that shoe, will you not give more than 100% commitment to ensure that these people do not come and attack your children in the school.
All right. Let me go back to Dr. Abrak. I do apologize. Dr. Okori, you know, some intelligence reports go before these attacks, but they still happen. And it also looks like we have become so dormant that we wait for these attacks to happen before reacting. I mean, last week, government delegation was in Kebbi State, and every time this happens, this is what we do, rinse and repeat, which means that when another attack happens, government delegation goes there, commiserates with the people, goes back to Abuja or state government's house and wait for another attack to happen. So, you know, first, without taking away the efforts of the military and the successes recorded, and as someone who understands that both proactive and reactionary measures are essential components of a comprehensive security strategy, we should be done with being reactive, shouldn't we, Dr. Okori?
I didn't know that you brought my twin brother here when it has to do with my position with forest guards.
Oh, nice.
That has been my position.
Oh, thank you.
From his analysis, from what he has said, the only thing that he didn't say for me to hear is that we need to arm them.
I was going to say that if he has considered or taken into consideration the sophisticated weapons these terrorists go about with.
Exactly, because these guys are going to be the first responders. They are the ones that will be on ground to confront these criminal elements when they come to attack our people in our various communities. They need to be armed. That's the only way we can get result with regards to confronting this hydra-headed enemy that is confronting us today. You see, I have said it time to time number that the top-to-bottom approach cannot work. It is the same strategy, it is the same tactics. What I mean top to bottom is that when it happens, that is when we see the military, the police begin to deploy soldiers, police to the crime scene. After a week or two, they are withdrawn. The communities become more vulnerable, you know, to these attackers. But just the way my brother here said, if we have forest guards on ground, they live within our communities, they are armed, very well armed. In the event where these strangers come, these strangers are not familiar, cannot be more familiar to the communities than them. Exactly. They are the original inhabitants of the community. That is where they live, that is where they grow, that's where they go to farm, that's where they do it. They are also hunters. They go to this forest to see what is happening there. But unfortunately, these criminals attach so much value to our forests. They have hijacked the forest. And this is where they hide, kidnap citizens of this country, go keep them.
All right.
Once ransom or any negotiations are met, they begin to see how to release them. Sometimes if you are not lucky, they kill you. The point is, we must change our strategy. We must change our tactics.
All right.
We must begin to look at it from bottom to top. Enough of these speeches. When we have security seminars, security events, security conferences, our security people in government come read speeches. At the end of the day, they go back to their various...
Thank you for staying with us, everyone. First 8 abducted Kwara church worshippers regain freedom. In the same vein, Mr. President has ordered the immediate withdrawal of police officers attached to VIPs. But what more can be done to secure the nation? Two gentlemen on the program with me. Stephen Okori is a security consultant. He's also a strategist, fellow Nigerian Army Resource Center. Isaac Abrak is also here on the program. He's a journalist and chairman, Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Gentlemen, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. So let's move ahead quickly. We've all agreed, gentlemen, that the military is overstretched. Troop strength is radically below what a country of over 200 million needs to fight multi-front insurgencies. I mean, units are regularly redeployed with no rest, leaving the military exhausted and reactive. But the president has now ordered the immediate withdrawal of police officers attached to these VIPs across the country. But the truth is that we're not hearing this for the first time. While some Nigerians are considering how this move could expose or potentially expose VIPs to security risk and how that should be mitigated, others are thinking or talking about risk of implementation delays or resistance within the police force. So if this decision would strengthen the fight against terrorism and kidnapping nationwide, Mr. Abrak, let me start with you. How does the president ensure that this is not just another statement?
I mean, it is not just about the president this time around. Since this terrorism has hit Nigeria in the last going to 2 decades now, This is the first time that the nation will respond, Nigerians will respond as one. So that is some in another way, it means that the CPC designation by America, has its positive side because it has jostled all of us. So now that the president has given this directive, I believe that everybody is going to respond. And when I say from everybody, the hierarchy, from the president to the IGP to the last DPO, in the division, they would respond and ensure that these people are withdrawn and are deployed, to protect the lives of all Nigerians. So I expect it to work because we are tired, because it is becoming a national embarrassment globally that a country would now have to come and help us fix our problem. So I expect it to work. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a penchant, for always, following to the latter, his policies. So we expect it to work. If we don't see them carry the president's order to the latter, Nigerians will come out on the streets. And I believe that we don't want to see that. My Dr. Corey here just pointed out to the issues about the police. The police have not been really living up to their expectation. So it's an opportunity for them now to prove to Nigerians that they are as committed and as capable, to carry out their duties as designed by the Constitution. And the president is the commander-in-chief of the
Mr. Abrak, and I also, I extended that conversation and I said, a police system that has been under-resourced and underfunded, is it fair to say the police system is lazy?
You see, yeah, it's, I would not call it lazy. I would say relaxed, yeah. But please, we should stop talking about underfund. When would there be enough money? When would there be enough money? At every point in time, every agency, every institution in Nigeria, every leadership in Nigeria always claims, always say they are being underfunded. Where is our patriotism? Where is our commitment to service? And this is why this is why we are calling on the forest guard. Because when you bring people from the communities who are affected directly from this problem, they will not come and be asking you didn't pay us last month's salary, so we'll not go and guard our villages, we'll not go and guard our children from being kidnapped. But that is a part. We should stop talking about underfunding, please. We need to be committed. The resources that have been given to us, I want to ask, can every institution justify the maximum use of that resources that has been given to them? Can we? So, why don't we use what we have optimally? When we use it optimally, it will now make sense, or it will now be sensible for these institutions to demand for more. Because the average man on the street, when any agency talks about being underfunded, it is just like a rhetoric to us. Right? So, we are saying that yes, there can never be sufficient funding. But there you can have a significant funding that, okay, you'll be able to meet all your needs. But I am saying here, and on behalf of many Nigerians, I believe that please, the monies, the funding that has been given to you, please put it to proper use first. Let it be proven. Let us see that yes, it has been used very well. So are you now trying to justify that because they have been underfunded, that is why they should stay and guard the VIPs?
So those are two different issues, Mr. Abrak. But let me go back to Dr. Okori, because, Mr. President has now ordered the withdrawal of these security personnel from the VIPs. If this is indeed more than a statement, how might this decision impact policing effectiveness and crime management nationwide?
Sorry, it will go a long way. Do you know why? Because we have less 400,000 police officers in this country. That's the workforce for the police. Now, if you and I could do a mental calculation here, just imagine the number of embassies that we have in Nigeria, the number of banks that we have in Nigeria, the number of central banks that we have in Nigeria, the number of VIPs that we have in Nigeria, the number of wealthy Nigerians that have police protection, in the number that we have in Nigeria, the number of government institutions and agencies that we have in Nigeria, the number of churches, mosques that we have in Nigeria, all these things that I'm listing here have police protection. Then when you do this mental calculation with me, how many do we have left that are out there to provide security for the other Nigerian citizens that are out there? So the point is, by the time we withdraw all this, it's not for just the VIPs alone. The other government institutions that we have, agencies, embassies, banks, and all that, we can have other security agencies that should be out there to provide such service. Because we don't have enough number. We are complaining of resources. Police is 95 years old this year. 95 years, we are still saying the same thing over and over again. They are underfunded. They don't have manpower. They don't have equipment. They don't have... Why should we be doing that year in, year out? And every year, they have a budget that they put before the National Assembly. What is contained in the budget? Just the way Mr. Abraham said here. They let us know these resources, what the judiciary is using it for. At the end of the day, we see them come out. Nigeria is a rich country. When it has to do with fighting insecurity, I don't think we lack the resources. If you see the kind of amount of money in the hands of politicians, using the money to intimidate other citizens of this country, they amass so much wealth. I don't know if you remember when Farida Waziri was the EFCC chairperson or chairman. She said that the way Nigerians steal money, they need to carry out some mental check on them. Right? So we have the resources. So it's not for us to begin to complain that the resources is not there or the police are underfunded. This is a national television. You don't expect us to come and say everything that we know that is happening out there, because it will be an embarrassment.
All right.
Right? So we need accountability. We need some sort of transparency, in the dealings when it has to do with security issues. Because the monies are in the budget. Another worry is that, do we even implement the budget to the letter? We are in 2025, and the president is going to borrow in November 2025 to fund the 2025 budget. You see the issues. So we must see that we do what is right as a country. If we don't do what is right, we can never get it right. Right? So we cannot continue to do the same thing and we expect a different result. And
whether or not it is plausible that insiders or informants, and I'm asking this question because Mr. Abrak had raised the issue of patriotism, and this takes me back to the issue of whether or not it's plausible that insiders or informants play a role or a significant role in these attacks. It is no longer a conversation because it was publicly confirmed by Governor Umar Bago of Niger State. So this is, Dr. Corey, let me stay with you. Does the involvement of informants indicate a failure in Nigeria's counterterrorism strategies?
Absolutely. So, now, the point is, okay, are you going to...
Yes, I also wanted to say, does this suggest, you said absolutely, so does this suggest systemic weaknesses in intelligence gathering or vetting processes?
You see, let me tell you something. I don't want to believe that the system is weak when it has to do with issues like this. Do you know why? Because for me, the institutions or the system is there innocently, and who operates the system? Who operates the institution? They are Nigerians. So in the event when Nigerians fail in operating the system, our institution rightly, and they are not being patriotic about it, they don't have the integrity when it has to do with operating the system and our institutions. Integrity is doing what is right when nobody is wrong, when nobody is watching you. Do we have people like that in government that are operating the system, or they are deliberately weakening the system? And we now begin to blame it on the system. The system doesn't have any blame at all. The operators of the system that are Nigerians, that are messing up with the system. So in the event where an intelligence is generated from an information and there is failure to execute it, what happens at the end of the day? It becomes a news. It becomes a news. And that is what we're experiencing. And that is why we are most times reactive. When intelligence is generated, we expect the relevant agencies to act. The DSS generated some intelligence with regards to the Kuje attack by terrorists. The agencies of security agencies that were supposed to act did not act at when they were supposed to act. What happened? These terrorists came, struck, released almost 60 commanders of Boko Haram, They had their prayers, their evening prayers or night prayers within the premises of the prison and left. At the end of the day, that same year, the Senate President then, Ahmed Lawan, came and on national TV, he said he was shocked that CCTV camera in the medium prison in Kuje were not functional. And you want to blame the system? Meanwhile, we had people that oversight agencies like that in the Interior Ministry. They had Senate Committee on Interior and all that. They refused to carry out oversight function.
Right.
At the end of the day, nobody discovered that CCTV cameras were not functioning. Do you blame the system or the operators of the system? I was at the function where they asked a question. Is it that Nigeria as a country has failed us as a people, or we the people failed Nigeria? It's not left for our listeners, our audience to ponder around this question. Is it the nation that has failed us? A nation that God has blessed with abundance of resources, both natural and human? At the end of the day, we are in this situation after 65 years? Or you want to blame the people? Of course, the answer is right before you and I. We blame the people, we blame Nigerians. From 1960 to date, it is Nigerians that have been piloting the affairs of this country. So, they should go and sit down and begin to look at how successful they have been in power. Unfortunately, the people that have been piloting the affairs of this country are the ones complaining of the damage in the country. So who do now hold responsible?
All right. Ms. Abrak, let me come to you. As someone conversant with the North, to embedding with frontline actors, to touring Boko Haram terrorist territories in the Northeast, how can intelligence agencies rebuild trust within communities to prevent leaks?
The forest guard. We must explore who we are as Africans. Africans are communal in nature. We live together, we function together, we eat together. When you recruit individuals from a certain community and deploy them to their forest to guard, if the individuals are 50 of them and they come from the community of a population of 500, be rest assured that 550 people are the ones that you have deployed to guard that forest. There is going to be continuously flow of intelligence from their community people back at home to them in the front lines. And as Dr. Corey said, the forest guard, as we are pushing for it, would come from these community people. That means that they have superior understanding of the forest terrain. And therefore, it means that the intelligence that they would have would be credible information that will be passed to the security agencies. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's not that the forest guard is going to function independently, on its own. It is going to, the forest guard is like giving assistance or complementing, the job of the military and the police and the Nigerian immigration and the custom security service and all of these agencies. They will collaborate with them. So if the military, they can give military, for instance, in all of these attacks, at every point in time, especially let's stay with the school abductions now, there is always intelligence that gets to the people. The people always have the information that they are coming to attack them. Now, they have the information that they are coming to attack them. If we have a system that has trained a level of communication between the forest guard and also the military, then it means that it will be easier for them to pass this intelligence directly to the forces that can come and do the job. And if the forces even observe the threat and say, oh, we think that you people can deal with this problem before we get there, they can train them on how to do it. So we're saying that if we want solidified, concrete, and workable intelligence, the forest guard is that platform, is that agency that can gather this intelligence and pass it to our security agencies. I read on the press statement that was released by Bayo Ononuga recently, the president was calling for the communities to cooperate more with the security agencies. I also read somewhere that the military is saying that in some cases, when communities try to protect themselves, it exacerbates the problem. Why is this? Because these people are not trained. If the military had trained this forest guard, they would definitely have developed a working relationship. If the president wants sufficient cooperation between the society and the security agencies, then you can do that with the forest guard. The forest guard would be that first line that will cooperate with the military, having tapped all the energy, having tapped all the information, having tapped all the intelligence from their communities, and they will use it to collaborate and cooperate with the security agencies. I want to say it here clearly to all the governors in all of the states and our president and all our leaders in all stratas. We have come to a junction in Nigeria today that we must do things differently. If we continue to say we don't have sufficient funding, if we continue to say we don't have the right laws, to ensure that these forest guards are properly being set up, then it means that we are not ready for change. I've always known that we will get to a situation, Nigeria will get to a situation that this forest guard, we will do it. This forest guard, we will do it as far as we continue to postpone it. And this is not time to postpone it. Let us do it now. We have security votes. We can tap from that.
Right.
We can tap from that.
What do you think about state police there?
This forest guard.
Mr. Abrak. What do you think about state
Pardon?
police?
Please come again. I didn't get that.
What do you think about state police?
Face to live. State police, beautiful. Beautiful. They can go hand in hand. The state police can secure and police the cities, the townships, while the forest guard would be specially dedicated to the forest. The governors have been asking for the state police. I think Mr. President and the National Assembly and also the State Assembly should work together at this moment in time and ensure that they give these governors this state police. And coming back to the forest guard, we are saying to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, set up this forest guard properly. Let the American government help us cooperate with you. We are calling on President Trump. Cooperate with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to set up the forest guard. You want the Americans want to protect the victims. I am saying to America, this is the direct way that you can support the victims of all these killings by
Dr.
empowering them
thank you, Mr.
to
Abrak.
defend themselves.
Thank you very much. That was quite instructive. Let me go back to Dr. Okori. And, I don't think we've had this conversation before. And this is because, it became very important to ask you directly because some analysts are suggesting that this reluctance to expose financiers stems from the political classes' entanglements in conflict economies, that some financiers are politically connected. I don't know if you must have an opinion about that. So, and it looks like the sponsors are untouchable elites. And the question has been, if this is true, how can ordinary Nigerians trust the government's claim that it is fighting terrorism fairly? And I also remember that it was in August, former CDS, Christopher Musa says, the process of identifying and prosecuting terrorism financiers in Nigeria is ongoing. Is it rocket science? From your years of experience, is it rocket science to also identify terrorism financiers who are allegedly based in this country?
I think that we don't have the will to identify them. We know them, but we don't want to name them. No, seriously. What we couldn't do in Nigeria, United Arab Emirates did in 2018. I don't know if you forgot that a list of sponsors. Yes, 2021, sorry. 2021, a list of terrorism financiers was sent from Dubai. About 12, 13 of them. What has happened to that list today? Malami was Attorney General and Minister of Justice. We were expecting something different to happen to the list, to terrorism financiers in Nigeria. But I don't think we're a serious nation when it has to do with that. The fact is, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the former Chief of Staff to late President Muhammadu Buhari, he said somewhere in one function that the insecurity situation we're experiencing in Nigeria are elite orchestrated insecurity. What that means is that our elites, the political class, they all have hands in it in one way or the other. These are boys they hire as political thugs. They use them as thugs. At the end of the day, they disperse them without settling them, without withdrawing or recovering the arms and ammunition that they give to them to carry out political thuggery on their behalf. Whether we like it or not, we have seen in this country where certain political gladiators were seen to be having a conversation with some criminal elements up there in the northeast. In the north central, we saw where armed robbers were hibernating or having some conversation with our political gladiators in this country and all that. The fact is, are we serious about addressing the insecurity issues in this country? No matter how highly placed these people are we ready to bring them down? We saw in this country a plane came from Turkey, armed, fully armed, with arms and ammunition contained in the plane. What happened to that plane till today? Where is the investigation about the plane? I expect that the aviation ministry would have impounded that plane. That plane, I can't find anywhere where they are talking about the plane that came into this country with arms and ammunition. So what are we saying? There's drug cartels. A whole lot is happening in this country and we're just looking at it. In as much as the agencies of government are trying their best, but there are certain people that they are not touching because they feel that they are in high places. We must rise to the occasion if we want to get these things right in this country. You know, nobody should be above the law.
All right, Mr. Abrak, let me end this conversation with you, and I want you to give your final take on the role or the expected role of state governors in securing their states. Is it really exaggerated?
I will end my mission here tonight by saying that definitely the state governors have a big role to play in securing their states. I want to leave it to each of the state governors to assess themselves with the oath that you took on the office when you are coming into government, with the fundings that you have gotten since you come into government. Is it justifiable? Can you justify it with the efforts that you have put in to secure your people? And not just by buying ammunitions or buying vehicles for police, but by economic empowerment, poverty eradication. Has it been deployed? Have you efficiently deployed that? Because that is another basic way of fighting insecurity. I like to say here that we have come to the junction whereby the whole world is looking at us now. Either we do it, we don't do it, it is going to consume us all. And I mean it. I want to say here that when Boko Haram started, it started in Yobe State with just Mohammed Yusuf attacking police checkpoints. Mohammed Ali attacking police checkpoints. It moved to Mohammed Yusuf. He was attacking checkpoints and military checkpoints. They moved to the UN office. We all felt at that time that it was all about government agencies. From there, they moved to churches.
Well,
I believe that some group
of... Sadly out of time, but I'll give you 30 seconds. Please round off.
Okay. All
right. Thank you very much. Okay. I mean, it's clear for this conversation that the country owes its citizens safety, dignity, and freedom to live without fear. Thank you so much for speaking with me tonight. Stephen Okoro is a security consultant, also a strategist, and I also have Isaac Abrak, a journalist and chairman, Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll definitely continue this conversation some other time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Right. And thank you very much for watching, everyone.